All right, dads, imagine a fantasy sports league that never sleeps. No off season, no kickoff times, no crying over your captain missing that penalty. Instead, the players are AI athletes, digital competitors battling out 24/7 while you build your lineup, make your calls, and watch it all unfold from your phone or PC between the bras and, of course, the school runs. This isn't science fiction. This is the next evolution of fantasy gaming. And the best part, you can join for fun or you can go full degen dad mode if that's your vibe. Of course, make sure you play responsibly, and this is not financial advice and for educational purposes only.
Yeah, Sean, that's wild. You're telling me that while I'm half asleep on the couch watching series reruns, there are AI athletes somewhere duking it out and some guy's winning a leaderboard spot right now?
Well, exactly, Ryan. Think of it as a fantasy sports without the waiting. It's happening all the time. It's like DraftKings, ChatGPT, and Pokemon had a blockchain baby.
And here's the kicker: the characters, called Mokis, can actually earn rewards, evolve, and belong to real people. It's a whole world that blends gaming, speculation, and community ownership.
And leading that madness is our guest today, a guy who's been deep into gaming and from community growth for over a decade. From esports to AR fantasy, he's building something pretty special.
Joining us on the show is Hantao Yuan, co founder of Moku, the studio behind Grand Arena, an always on AI fantasy platform where digital athletes compete nonstop and players can join contests around the clock. He's been in the trenches of gaming for years, running creator networks, building teams, even selling his esports squad to Overtime Sports. Now he's taking all that experience into the world of Web3.
Hantao, welcome to Dad's Gone Crypto.
What's up, guys? Thanks for inviting me to the show.
Absolutely, great to have you on. Let's get right to it.
All right, Hantao, you've lived and breathed gaming, from owning teams to building communities. When did the light bulb go off that said, okay, the next area isn't just playing, it's owning the game itself? And tell me a bit about your backstory.
Sure. So I got started in university, and my parents were like, you have to be a doctor or an engineer. So I took sciences, but in order to get into med school, you need volunteer hours. So I actually started volunteering for a bunch of different clubs at the time. One of them was a gaming club. So we started running events for hundreds of people back in like 2013 ish. And um, we were hosting like LANs for StarCraft, Dota, Counter-Strike, Super Smash Brothers, League of Legends, and that's kind of where I got started. And after I graduated, I didn't really want to do chemistry at all. I wanted to go fully into gaming, and that's how I got started in gaming. Now, how I got started in crypto was when I did start gaming, I started playing a few games. One of them was Counter-Strike. I think in the first week of me playing Counter-Strike, I put 200 hours in a
Gee
week.
whiskers.
And
Sounds
I
about
was
normal.
like, yeah, the gameplay loop was great. Like their in-game monetization and crates and opening them was really fun. And I actually started betting on Counter-Strike matches using skins, and I could sell those skins on markets for crypto. So I was using it pretty early on, but not in like traditional DeFi and crypto sense.
Very, very cool.
Wow, that's great. And when you started Moku, you didn't just make a game, you built a whole world with the Mokis, the mischievous Tanuki characters, and the tech powering it all. Why build both IP and infrastructure all at once?
Yeah. So when we started in crypto, we actually had a Axie guild. When Axie like play to earn and guilds were still
Mm.
popping. And the reason we built Moki is because what we realized, we when we were building out products and activations, there was nothing really for people to grab onto. So we wanted an IP to accrue value back to our brand and a way for the community to actually be attached to something. So that's why we started that IP. But we built a bunch of products in the process in order to do that. So we built a distribution platform where we help distribute some of the top games in crypto. We brought them to market. We ran the Axie Creator program. Pixels Creator Program. We've done a lot of stuff, and we just wanted a way for people to really tie into something and enjoy the memes around it and the culture.
Hantao, for the dads listening in the carpool right now and for people tuning in, all right, what exactly is Grand Arena? How does it work? And what makes it different from the usual fantasy app or esports game?
Yeah, so Grand Arena is daily fantasy for AI athletes. And the way that we describe it is there's two main components. One is daily fantasy. Everybody currently knows daily fantasy as picking a lineup. You go into a pool with some friends, spend $20, and then hopefully you're done by the end of the season. And the way that we want to change that is by utilizing the mechanics of crypto to make it more exciting. So we added cards and collectability, and we added royalties and a lot of stuff on chain in order to make it more fun and to pump people's bags. The other component is the AI athletes, which is instead of traditional sports where you have athletes playing, now you have AI characters that are playing different types of games, one to start with, but different experiences in games 24/7 so that you're not bound by seasons, you're not bound by schedules, and you're not bound by player injuries.
That's excellent. I absolutely love that just doesn't stop. No time zones, no waiting for game times. So
No
why?
injuries.
Yeah, exactly. So what gave you that idea? Why go 24/7 with the athletes, and how do you keep your, players engaged for that amount of time, really?
Yeah, so basically, we believe in always on entertainment. And what we see right now is a new generation of people that are always consuming entertainment. Like when I was growing up, we had dial up, right? Like I couldn't do anything because my parents were calling their parents in Asia. And now that the internet is like so fluid between how people share content and how people upload and watch content, essentially now we're seeing almost like a change in behavior and how people just constantly are always wanting like a stimulus to
Right.
be happy, to laugh at something, to get information or value. It's like I don't even go to Google to look at what restaurants. I can just go to look at TikTok or Instagram and be like, what is top restaurants here?
Mm.
Right. And there'll probably be a video explaining something. And combining that with kind of the culture of crypto, but also I think everybody has a little bit of degen in them, but they just don't know it yet. Like if I give Ryan, if I and Sean, if I give you guys like $1,000 and I was like, hey, let's go to Vegas, you guys would definitely be willing to spend it and have fun, you
Absolutely.
know? So I think
And
there's a
end up
little
in a
bit of,
hotel room with the baby cub, a lion.
yeah, but you would definitely be willing to spend it because, it's just something fun to do.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit of that in everybody. And also think that everybody is willing to spend a few bucks to make an outsized return, especially if they feel like they have an edge or something. If they know sports better than somebody else, like we're seeing with prediction markets, right? Like if I feel like I know something more than someone else, I'm going to take that bet to try to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that.
Do you remember the days with dial-up there, Ryan? Or was it more
Oh yeah.
that? What's that little thing where you
Shoot.
go? "Dit, dit,
I,
dit,
I
dit."
remember I remember when dial-up came out. I remember pre-internet computers, buddy. My first computer had a tape drive. So
We used to run the cable when the parents are watching TV. Run like a long, like 25-meter cable, and then you just managed to connect after like 15 minutes to the internet after that long sound.
right.
And then someone would close the bedroom door. It was like sever the cable. I'm like, no. Now you are busy tapering the wire. But anyways, good memories. All right,
Absolutely.
Hantao, so tell me, you've got basically the perfect setup, right? You got a combination of some casual players that can jump in for fun. And then you got some DGen players that can dive into more the strategy and gameplay and the crypto gameplay. How did you manage to build a game that works for both crowds? Like normally people stick to one lane and say, all right, I'm going straight for the DGens, but you've managed to balance both. And how?
Yeah. So I think the main part of it is time. right? Like, I don't have time to sit down and play a game for 8 hours straight. Like, I just can't do that, right? And I think the
Right.
majority of people who watch even entertainment, who watch different types of things, usually it's like, okay, I'll watch for 30 minutes to an hour and then I'll go do something else because I'm busy, right? And that's a huge ethos of what we wanted was like, if we make an experience that requires a long time, people will have higher expectations of that experience. So in daily fantasy, we want to make sure that people are only spending maybe 5 to 10 minutes a day playing that experience. And then it's like, okay, well, let me take a look at the stats. Let me look at who's playing today. Okay, I think these characters would do well. So I'm going to play these in my lineup and draft them and enter into a contest. But if you are somebody who is a try hard or does have a lot of free will and free time, then you can go a lot deeper, right? Like you can go into the meta game of like, oh, this character hasn't performed that well, but because he's on the different lineup, I think he'll do a lot better. So the game depth is higher, but to get started, it's a lot more simple and only requires maybe 10 minutes a day to actually play the game if you want to, right? There'll be some contests that might be weekly as well. So you might check in once a week, once a day, depending on your play style. So building that into the system gives us a lot more flexibility.
Wow, that's really cool. So, okay, real life scenario. I'm a dad, got 10 minutes before rugby practice. How do I actually jump in, and what's step one to get started here?
Yeah. So in the future, there will be some free contests, but right now, in order to play, you have to get a set of cards. So you need 4 athlete cards and 1 scheme card. A scheme card is a modifier on how your lineup is scored. So, for example, let's take a real world scenario. Maybe your athlete scores more or does more passes or more assists. So that card, maybe it's like, oh, you get more points for assists, but no points for scoring.
Okay.
So that's a real life scenario. So you can modify the lineup, and each one is a lot more dynamic and it involves more strategy. But you need a lineup. It'll cost probably, I would say, around $1 to $2 to get a lineup,
Okay, so
and you can
really easy
sell
to get
those.
in, really inexpensive to get in.
Yeah, and you can sell those back as well because you're getting it on secondary market. So
Okay.
once you have a lineup, you just choose which contest you want to enter into for the day, and you just choose. The contest will be different types of price points, like maybe $1, $2, $5, $10 slates, and you just enter it, and then you just wait for the result after it's finished.
Hmm. That's really cool.
And what about those that want to go a little bit deeper? Can you just give us, like you've explained, an experience for like a guy coming in, maybe perhaps with a higher tier contest and so forth?
Yeah, sure. So if you wanted to get into the game a lot deeper, the cards, you can upgrade them for additional benefits. You can collect different types of cards to build different types of lineups. So theoretically, you can enter in 10 lineups every single day with different characters, different cards, different rarities that give different points. And you would need to watch the different matches as well that are going on 24/7, look at the stats, look at the previous performance of those athletes, and understand like, oh, am I putting a bunch of good characters together in order to win? So for example, that's going back to that scheme card, right? So let's say, hey, you can't get any touchdowns, but you can get kicks. Well, you wouldn't want to put characters on your lineup that are really good at touchdowns because then you would void your own lineup. So
Okay.
you would want everybody on your lineup to be really good at kicks. And that's what correlates to our game, which is there's 3 different win conditions within the game. So in order for you to understand all of how the different stats work, the cards work, you need a little bit more strategy.
So the collection's got 8,888 Mokis, right?
There's a 7 at the end instead of 8 because one of them got sent to Coinbase.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, it's gone now
All right,
forever.
so 8,887 Mokis. And they can
Yeah.
all earn rewards when featured in card packs. So can you explain that to our listeners? How does owning a Moki translate into shared value, and how do the card packs work?
Yeah. So every Moki will be playing automatically in the games.
Okay.
If you do own a Moki, you're essentially playing Football Manager. So you're training it, you're upgrading stats, you're choosing how you want to train it, and then you're looking at the outcomes of that training and optimizing it through time, right? And so you'll earn performance rewards depending on how well it does compared to the other athletes in the game. But if your athlete is chosen to become a champion, which is 177 of them,
Okay.
then you will be the one featured in the cards. So being featured in the cards allows your Moki to be earning royalties every time a card pack is sold during the season,
Sure.
and whenever the card is sold on secondary as well. And we just added those mechanics in because we know that people like seeing their bags go up in
Yeah.
crypto.
That's really cool. So the champions, they change each season, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the champions will rotate throughout different seasons and different types of events. We might include more champions and booster packs, things like that. And yeah, they'll be rotating. The only ones that will stay are the 27 custom art ones.
All right. So Hantao, based on, the champions rotating and that, how much like real say do the players actually have, and how can new players get involved?
Yeah, I mean, the players have a lot of say because, for example, if you had a champion, Sean, and I was like, hey, Sean, I have your card and you're not training your athlete, you need to train your athlete or I'm going to sell your cards because they're going to become worthless.
Okay.
Or if you upgrade your athlete, then my cards will be worth more and I'll want to buy more of your cards in order to compete because I know your Moki is going to be great at performing.
Okay.
Oh, that's really
A
interesting.
lot of gamification in there, hey? Sure.
Absolutely. So you've got cards, leaderboards, and MXP progressive token. How do you balance gameplay and collectibles without it becoming like a kind of like a gambling trap, I guess?
Yeah, so I think that all comes down to weighting how you earn MXP. So MXP is Moku XP. It's a thing in the ecosystem where every time you play or do something within it, you get MXP. So, for example, if you enter into a contest, if you perform really well in that contest, if you collect cards and hold them, if you open them, if you train your Moki, and if you do a lot of other things within the ecosystem, you can earn MXP, and this accrues to the end of season. And I think the way that it just needs to be done is we just have to balance it properly between each of those different actions to make sure that people can't abuse the system by doing just one thing. We want to make sure that we want people to be able to do a variety of things within the ecosystem to really experience it. So that way you can play the game, have fun, but also earn MXP towards that $1 million prize pool.
Okay. And the MXP, are you that goes away at the end of each season, or okay. So it's a progressive token that stays within the season, but then you're starting from scratch when you go to the new season. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's basically like a air mile system.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So a point system that's building, but you use it basically, and it has an expiration date.
It has an expiration date at the end of the season because that's when we give everybody their prizes, airdrops for collecting MXP.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think that's very cool because I think you alluded to time, and if you're putting time in, surely we should be rewarded in some way. And if we're playing for fun, why can't we generate more, XPs and, be entered into a potential, prize pool. So it's actually brilliant. And the more I play, which is what the game needs, more playability and more gamification in different areas, and the more opportunities I'll have to win a bigger bag. It's very, very cool.
That is. So and MXP is not a on-chain token. It's an in-game token. Is that correct?
I wouldn't describe it as a token, maybe just like a point system.
Just a point system. Okay, but it's in-game. It's not on-chain.
Correct.
It's not, okay, great.
And we can't buy it, huh?
No.
You got to
You can
earn
only
it.
earn it, right?
I had to ask the question.
No, that's really cool. I like that. That you got to earn it in game.
All right, so running 24/7 like an AI fantasy world sounds a bit like juggling chainsaws made of code. What's been the biggest challenge for you? Has it been the tech? Has it been the user adoption? Or has it been the regulations?
everything. I mean, I think just building a company is really difficult, especially in crypto. But for our product specifically and Grand Arena, I would say the hardest thing is probably AI. So most of what we see with AI is two buckets. One, which is outside of crypto, like Sora, really awesome content, AI generated. People are using it. ChatGPT, right? Claude, Copilot, things like that. And then the other bucket is like more crypto stuff, which is your AI agents, your chatbots, kind of like fluff stuff people trade on for narrative.
Right.
But the way that we look at it is people don't really care about AI like most developers do, right?
Right.
Most people are just users, right? Like I just want to enter in like I saw a TikTok clip of a Disney movie made on Sora, except it had guns inside. And I was like, what am I watching? Right. So most people just want to like watch content, be shocked or
Right.
laugh. And so they don't actually want to play around with AI that much like developers do. And so the biggest challenge was how do we make a model where people can have fun upgrading, but it's not something that's super simple or else it's very gameable. So we made our own reinforcement learning model for the athletes where you have a base, but you can nurture it to become good at different types of stats. You can reset those stats. So it's very much like owning your own football or soccer team and being able to manage the athletes.
Okay. Wow, that's really interesting. So I heard a couple minutes ago you mentioned a $1 million reward pool for season one. So that's absolutely massive. But so first explain that just a bit, and then what comes after that? You know, more games, partnerships, bridge into traditional fantasy sports. What's on the agenda for you?
Yeah. So I would say so the reasoning for the $1 million prize pool is we want to take a big bet in what the future of content looks like and what the future of daily fantasy looks like.
Okay.
And how that works is we're setting a minimum. So there's going to be at least $1 million. And the way that we make money is every time people play contests, open up card packs, we take a rake fee, just like traditional daily fantasy. But we're putting a part of that rake fee back into the prize pool. So that prize pool actually grows throughout the season, depending on more players. So if we had like 50,000 players suddenly playing, then the prize pool would grow exponentially just from them entering contests, from opening card packs, etc. And we know that money incentivizes people in crypto because it's a very hyper financialized space.
Right.
And one of our things is like, don't shy away from that aspect of crypto. Right. And I think leaning in is going to do a lot better than leaning out.
Absolutely.
Now, we're going to start with the preseason, which is in a couple weeks. And that is where all the Moki owners will be able to train their athletes, try it out, tweak it, min max their characters. And after that, which will be about 2 to 3 weeks,
Okay.
we'll have the opportunity to start season one.
Okay.
And season one will last for 3 months. And after season one, we'll be doing additional seasons about every 3 months. And our plans for additional seasons is actually to release additional game titles. So that way, your athletes can actually compete in different experiences outside of our first initial release. So we'll be collaborating with different game developers to integrate into Grand Arena. IP wise, we can do booster packs. So we're going to be having a partnership soon with a marketplace, and we're going to have custom cards for them in order to play a different type of contest. So the system is built very flexible, but we can integrate a lot of different types of partners that are game developers and also IP partners as well.
Very cool. So are you going to keep your like the current game in season one, then season two you're going to have two games basically, so you're going to keep building on each other so you can continue to play them all, or is that the idea?
Yeah. Our goal is to essentially create a daily fantasy layer for hundreds of experiences that you can play daily fantasy over.
Oh.
Does the one season end and that's no more, or does it continue? Let's say I'm a late adopter and I'm coming in after season 1. Can I still play season 1? Will those games still be available to me?
So the daily fantasy aspect will end every season.
Okay.
So your character stats and stuff will carry over to different seasons, so it doesn't reset. You don't need to retrain them. But if depending on the game, you might need to train new stats, right? Like right now, it's more of a game, but maybe in the future there'll be more sports orientated thing. So they'll need like agility, or they'll need like ability to kick or catch balls, etc. And so the characters will carry over, but daily fantasy wise, it'll be different seasons. And then those seasons will be based on the different types of games that you can play.
Okay.
So basically, every 3 months, you generate the hype for the new season, generating more players and more excitement. And yeah, sure, you've definitely gone deep on the thinking. Yeah. So Hantao, tell me, for the dads listening out in from Africa to the US, what's your best advice for obviously playing responsibly? We will reiterate that, but also to get involved. So how would they start their journey in playing the game?
Yeah. So if you don't have a lot of time and you need to send your kid to daycare or soccer practice, then I would recommend just watching the ecosystem to start with, understanding how the game works, right? It's a new type of sport that you'll have to learn, but also you have to understand the daily fantasy aspect a little bit of how the card works. Once you had some time, maybe like a week to look through that, just watch it, 10 minutes a day. Then you can take a shot and maybe get a card lineup or open up a card pack to participate and try out a contest with $5 or less, just to get some experience with it. And then once you're more confident, then you're welcome to, participate deeper within the ecosystem.
Okay. So this is all AI driven. It's an AI driven sports league basically. So how do you keep it secure? Like how do people know what's happening in here is actually happening? How, because they're betting on it basically, right? So it's all AI. It's not actual sports that they're watching, which anymore seems questionable too, as far as who's actually playing for the win or not. But so how do you make everybody understand that, hey, this is straight up. we're this is actually happening here in real time.
Yeah. So to make it fair, we actually obfuscated a lot of what people can do, because like in Poly Market, for example, right? I go into a market and then 30 minutes later, we just see a bunch of fresh wallets pounding into one of the sides and then they're just insiders, right?
Right.
And a lot of how our game works is when you're an owner of the athlete, you need to upgrade certain stats, and you need to choose how you train those stats more aggressively, more securely, passively, etc. And that obfuscates a lot of the unfairness, because that way somebody who's might be like, let's say a developer, right? They can't just go in and enter in 100 lines of code to make their AI better, right?
Okay.
Everybody's using the same base model that they have to train up and choose themselves what they want to do. Also, because these characters are playing in we have thousands of matches every single day running, and that will help average out single performances.
Okay.
Right? Like recently, Shohei Ohtani did a crazy game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because we have thousands of games running every day, that helps also average out certain things that might be just like out of the box, or somebody performing super poorly for one day. That'll still happen, but because there's so many games going on and because everybody's using a base model, that'll really help take away that unfairness that people might feel.
Okay.
So what happens when you find an outlier, like a particular person's performing like tremendously well, right? Out of the norm. Do you ban them? Do you put them in the box? Do you reach out to them, or do you just let it be?
We just let it be, because they're all based on the same core models, right? That optimization is essentially just people being better managers of their athletes, right? They train them better, they understand how the game is played, and that'll happen, right? It's like in a normal football manager game, you're going to have people that are a bit more skilled at like, oh, I should train this athlete more because they have higher potential than this athlete who's a little bit more dumb and the stats can't get as high, right?
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So it's not like so for instance like mods in Call of Duty or something where, people go in there and they can manipulate things to give themselves a better shot. The way you've got this coded, that's not actually something that could happen.
Yeah, correct. Because the players or the managers, they have to just choose the stats, upgrade them, and then everything else is automatic. And you can watch replays and performances. So all the characters will have stats through time as well. So, like, maybe they're better at doing one objective in the game, collecting resources, or they're better at fighting in the game, or they're better at the boss. So, yeah, all the characters will have stats, but those are automated through time.
Very, very cool.
Could I use AI to help guide me? Let's just say I'm collecting resources, and can it help me select, better games that'll have a higher probability of perhaps winning? Is that allowed? Is that fair? Or is it just something that's not spoken about?
I mean, you could use AI, but I don't think there's other AI that are trained on our game yet. So, for example, like we have our own custom model, right? And then that model is what people are it's a starting point for everybody, and it's the same. And if you came in with an external AI, it's like, hey, take a look at all of the previous matches, tell me which stat I should upgrade. Like, that's totally fair, right? Because
Right.
that's essentially like your people who are hard in daily fantasy, who go hard in daily fantasy, and like, oh, I'm going to get all the stats in the last 10 years for all these teams, get all the athletes, see all of their performances, and calculate which ones are going to be the most optimal for the season, depending on these other players, right? So people do that all the time. And I think that's just part of the game.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know Sean's going to be out there building his new AI model now that that optimizes his Mokis.
Hey, Grok, my buddy Opel. Oh.
So Hantao, you've gone from owning an esports team to pioneering AI-driven gaming. What's the one lesson that you could pass on to other builders or players out there who, basically want to get ahead of the curve?
Yeah. So I'm a marketer. I'm not a developer. A lot of the other more smarter people are doing the product stuff. And for me, I would say the main thing is understand who you're marketing to. One of the biggest challenges building a product, service, company, etc., is finding people that really want that product or thing and really value it, right? And what we've done over the last 4 years is find a group of people who really like the Moki IP and the Moku culture community. And now it's just about finding the right people for daily fantasy and who want to watch 24/7 AI content. So the biggest lesson is just if you don't find the proper people to market to or to like your product, you can't survive that long as a business.
Well, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
And Hantao, to wrap it up, can you share with us any news or excitement or some gems that are possibly coming up that's happened in the last couple of weeks, as well as what potentially could happen in the next couple of weeks coming forward?
Yeah. So in the last couple of weeks, we just finished our pre-sale for the booster box. So the booster box is the first opportunity for players to get cards for Grand Arena. And that one had 12 million RON, which is just about $5-6 million of interest.
Sure.
And so after that, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to go into getting ready to launch. So we have our first watchability tests happening already this week. We have our preseason, which is happening in a couple weeks, and then season 1 officially starting. And in terms of leaks, I would say look forward to the art. I think that's a lot of the specialization is because when we see a lot of platforms being built, it's very like gloomy. It's very straightforward, like SaaS, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it feels like I'm just using a tech platform, right? And for us, a lot of what you're going to be seeing is a lot more vibrant or a lot more fun.
Okay. That's awesome. I can't wait to check it out.
Well, that was brilliant, and it's kind of wild to think that while we're sleeping, that these AI athletes are battling it out, and players around the world are participating. And I think it actually, it gives you something more forward to look for in the mornings. You go to sleep, that while you're sleeping, you're sort of productive, and maybe you're earning some revenue there. But Hantao, thank you very much for coming on the show, and we really appreciate your insight into your creation.
Yeah, it's been great having you on, and I think you've got a little surprise for our audience, correct? Something with the dad sacks, possibly.
Yeah, we're going to be contributing some booster boxes and some other cards, which we can't disclose yet.
Uh-huh.
But once that partnership is announced, then we'll also include some of those card packs in the dad sacks.
It's fantastic. The guys, so get out there, guys. You're gonna have to start liking everything these guys are doing. Get out there on their social media because I think you're going to want to be in the running to win those dad sacks. You can find their links at moku.gg. You can find them on Twitter at Moku_HQ, and of course at Hantao on X. So, jump in and try to get in on those dad sacks, guys.
All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to Dad's Gone Crypto. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and go and check out the channels, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks a lot, Hantao. It was great talking to you and great having you on the show.
Likewise, guys.
See you guys.
Ciao.
The material and information presented in this recording are for entertainment purposes only. Do not misconstrue what you hear as investment or trading advice. Always do your own research. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the guests on this recording are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Dad's Gone Crypto or its hosts.